Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association suspends planned strike after government's intervention. Queues return to petrol stations across Nigeria as commuters and vehicle owners frown on long hours spent on the lines to buy petrol. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo decries payment of poor wages for workers as he advocates proper scrutiny of the minimum wage structure. And South African Vice President Cyril Ramaphosa wins ANC leadership race ahead of former chairperson of the African Union Commission. Just a quick reminder to you that for more on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com and youtube.com/channelsweb. And log on to m.channelstv.com to watch us on your mobile device, or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. The Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. You also have access to the Eyewitness feature, with which you can share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu, and then follow the instructions. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has referred parties in the suit fighting for the Logo East Senatorial District. In a judgment on Monday, Justice Abdul Aboki refused the application by Senator Idoko challenging the ruling of the Federal High Court, which invalidated his election, and directed instead that all the parties should go back to the Federal High Court for a fresh hearing, as initially directed by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court had held that the lower court was in error to have come to a conclusion without calling oral evidence to resolve the dispute in the affidavits of both Senator Idoko and his challenger, Mr. Isaac Alfa. Both men insist that they are the duly nominated candidate of the party for the rerun party primaries. Now let's cross over to Abuja. Here's Gloria Ume-Izoke. Gloria?
Hello, Joma. President Muhammadu Buhari has extended the tenure of his service chiefs. A statement from the Public Relations Officer to the Minister of Defense, Colonel Tukur Gusau, says President Buhari's action comes after reviewing the ongoing military operations across the nation and efforts of the Chief of Defense Staff and other service chiefs in the counter-insurgency operations in the northeast. This is in addition to the security situation in the Niger Delta region. The statement adds that the extension is in pursuant to the powers conferred on the President in Section 218 of the 1999 Constitution. The service chiefs affected are the Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonishakin, Chief of Navy Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral Ibokete Ibas, and the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar. The Ministry of Defense has described as commendable the decision of the National Economic Council to approve the sum of $1 billion to the support to fight against Boko Haram in the northeast. The Director of Defense Information, Major General John Enenche, explains that it is common practice all over the world for wars to be funded through extra budgetary provisions. He is optimistic that the funds will go a long way in addressing the security challenges in the northeast when released. Major General Enenche was a guest on our breakfast program, Sunrise Daily.
There is nowhere in the world, in the history of war or conflicts, where wars, particularly special operations, are funded from the national budget. They are funded outside the budget. There are emergencies. Let me ask you and ask the general public, as at 2009, was there a deliberate expectation that Boko Haram were going to become insurgents and terrorists? The answer is no. Did we plan for it 20 years ago? No, in our national plan, nothing like that. And that is why it is not only in Nigeria, it is all over the world. It is the extant best international practice for you to fund your operations or to fund a war through extra budgetary provisions. And how do you fund it? You fund from where you are. You are talking about loans. You go and get loan, you pay interest on it. And what can they fall back to? And of course, I want to state categorically that the governors took the best decision as far as we are concerned, because they are the people feeling they are the chief executive officers in the various states where these things are happening. Look at this weapon. It's a special weapon. I will not go beyond that. Look at the AK-47. They are miles apart. Their prices are never the same. If it were in the United States of America, Russia, for instance, this is supposed to be the personal weapon that the soldier uses now to confront what? Insurgency and terrorism. It has special features. One of it, what is the capacity of this magazine you are seeing? 30. The rounds, what about the telescopic sight? Very, very accurate. Yet, the armed forces of Nigeria had been prosecuting with the AK-47 of the Second World War.
Meanwhile, the safe corridor policy of the federal government for repentant extremists in the northeast will not be automatic for everyone who surrenders. This is according to the head of Counter-Terrorism Committee in the Office of the National Security Advisor, Commodore Yem Musa. Well, according to him, some of the extremists will have to face trial before they are reintegrated into the society, while those who did not join out of their own volition and have not committed any serious crime will go through a process of rehabilitation and reintegration. Commodore Musa was speaking at a high-level interagency conference on strengthening criminal justice response to terrorism in Abuja, the nation's capital. Our correspondent, Amaka Okafo, has the report.
It's a meeting of delegates drawn from the Nigerian security community, the European Union and the United Nations to chart a course for strengthening criminal justice response to terrorism in the northeast. The focus of the federal government following the degrading of the Boko Haram terrorist group in the northeast is to use a multidimensional approach of de-radicalization, reintegration and justice for victims of the terrorist group's activities.
We have set up a safe corridor for those defectors who wish to leave and come to the mainstream of the society. We do this in compliance with Nigerian law, committed to respecting the right of victims and bringing perpetrators to justice.
For other speakers at the event, the federal government must, in ensuring justice for victims, treat fairly defectors, as this will serve as a platform to get more terrorists to surrender.
I think it's also important, not just from the point of view of ensuring that victims have justice, but also that the people maybe who have surrendered or have the defectors, let's say, that they're treated in a just manner. Because if they are treated in a just manner, and if the process is seen to be fair and effective, maybe firm as well as being effective, but just, and it leads to a good outcome, we will help achieve our objectives maybe better and faster, because we will have more defectors as the message spreads that people are treated.
And for those who are concerned that the safety corridor policy is a slap on the face of the victims of terrorism, this is what the federal government has to say.
Most of these Boko Haram suspects that are being admitted to the safe corridors may have various levels of commitment to terrorism. They will be categorized. Based on the categorization, some of them could still go through the criminal justice system before being absorbed into the de-radicalization program.
The intention of this meeting is to ensure that actionable and tangible plans are put in place to end terrorism. Amaka Okafo, Channels Television News.
The Ekiti State Governor, Mr. Ayodele Fayose, has described as baseless media reports that his administration has obtained loan facilities worth more than 56 billion naira in the last 3 years. The governor said this on Monday during an interactive meeting with civil servants in the state at the government house in Ado-Ekiti. Governor Fayose also confirmed receiving the state's share of the balance of the second tranche of the Paris Club refund of 4.7 billion naira.
The federal government approved loans before you can take such. They should give evidence. They should post it, the paperwork, publish it in newspapers. I stand to be corrected. I have not borrowed a dime since I became governor of Ekiti. And it's not because I cannot borrow. but we have enough body created, caused by the last administration. But I am not that kind of a person that blames the past and blames the past. So it's in the imagination of the opposition. Today, I have managed our resources within ambits of availability.
When the News at 10 returns, residents of Okpela community in Edo State plead with cement manufacturing giants, Dangote and Boa Group, to resolve their differences out of court. Details after the break. Please join us again.